So what do you think the difference is between people that get to be burned out landlords and sell to people like me versus the ones that really hang in there and manage their property to the point and create a portfolio to the point they get financial freedom?
Well, I think there's a couple of things because like you, a pretty frequent seller to me is a burned out landlord. So yes, we have the same experience. I think a couple of things that I've seen in my history. First is they could be over leveraged, right? They either purchased with the maximum leverage, or at some point during the time they got greedy or overzealous and they did a cash out refinance, and they basically turned what was a positive experience into a negative. And I'm not immune to this. As you know, Jim, in my book, I wrote about how I bought that first property. We were really happy. A couple of years later, I created what I call an alligator, and they hurt. And knowing that our property is going to be negative every month, and then to suffer the ills of being a landlord, a broken window, a broken water heater, a late paying tenant, it's sort of, a death by 1,000 cuts. And they're like, get this thing away from me. So the ones that hold on, they have, they're not maximum. They're not leveraged to the hilt. They were okay putting an extra 10% down. They also do more maintenance, right? They're fixing small things versus, you know what, let's let that run another 6 months and we'll take care of it later. Some of my earliest mistakes that bit me hard was, trying to patch a roof, right? Oh, if we just patch it, we'll get through the rainy season in California and we'll be good another year. Nope. There's just things that you should do as a landlord, take the early pain versus the late pain. And so that's what I think. I think people that get stuck with negative cash flow, or what I call alligator properties, are 1, 2, 3 bad events from going, I give up, sell this thing. It's not for me. That's what I think.
Yeah, and I don't know if you've heard part of my story, but when Cheryl and I got started as landlords in our 20s, I watched my dad do it, and he made it look so easy. He was an architect. He did it your way, right? Working full time and buying properties made it look so easy that Cheryl and I jumped in when we were like 24, and that didn't go well. I mean, it looked so good on paper, man. Because it was like $20,000 for a duplex, and there's a reason it was 20 grand. There are tenants in it too. Oh. But, you don't attract good tenants when you have, loads of deferred maintenance and lack of capital to make those improvements. Mm-hmm. And you don't have a clue how to manage, like I didn't. I had no idea how to screen a tenant, do a lease, an application, none of that. It's just like, literally, if you showed up, I would meet you after my job working as an engineer all day. You had a pulse and some money in your pocket. Come on in.
It's an easy yes answer. Yeah.
Yeah. And then stuff would break. Like near Buffalo is cold. So we had a lot of space heaters and boilers, and I didn't have money to hire people when those things broke. So it was before YouTube and before the internet. I went to Walden Books and bought a great big hardcover book, and I would read in there how to fix a boiler and how to fix a water heater. And I had to DIY it because I didn't have money. I was 24, and it all looked so good on paper. And then Cheryl's like, we need to sell this thing. And I moved to Virginia, and I did. I sold it. I didn't lose any money. It was all good. But that cost me like 10 years of investing because I did it wrong. She swore we would never be landlords again. So you asked a really good question recently in one of your social media posts, and you're great at all this. What are some of the really key attributes? And I said in there, you got to have patience.
Yeah.
It's one of the ones I've worked on. And so if you just start buying assets that create cash flow, the equity is going to grow over time, but you got to have patience to hang in there.
Oh, yeah, no question. I actually just put something out today, and it's actually loading on my phone right now up to YouTube. It is financial freedom is hard, but a better financial future is easy. And it all comes down to time, right? Yes, having financial freedom with buy and hold rental properties is absolutely possible. I've documented the story in the book, One Rental at a Time. Absolutely possible. But it's hard because you have to, you have to think in decades. You have to consistently sacrifice, live below your means, make choices that are not fun, so that you can eventually, create a portfolio that exceeds your monthly expenses. So it's absolutely possible. If you don't want to go down that road, you can have a better financial future just getting 1, 2, 3, 4 rentals. And I promise you, letting your tenants buy 70% of your asset is awesome, right? You put 30% down, they're going to pay the other 70% over 30 years. You win, I promise. So you got a choice, right? Do you want a better financial future? Great. Follow Jim, get a couple of rentals. If you want to sacrifice and you're willing to sign in for the long haul, you can have financial freedom. It's not going to be easy. It starts slow, but in time you will continually add units and you'll get there. So it's your choice watching this. Do you want a better future or do you want freedom? Your choice.